Righty-ho, everybody. Hi there. I thought I'd do a bit of a check-in with a cup of coffee right here, and it felt like a good idea because I have been going into some serious territory, you guys. I was watching back some of my videos, and God help us, it is just piling on one heavy subject on top of the other, right? It's rather a lot. Soul retrieval and deep astrology and completion process, and good help us, it's just too much. So I think that in the policy of trying to find a bit more middle ground in my life, it would really be a good idea for me to do a check-in, um, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. We will see what when the need arises, and we will see from there where we go. Because life isn't all academic. Life isn't all, not even for me. It isn't all tension and struggle. It isn't all problems that need solving. I mean, yes, there is quite some of that. There is a lot of that. But I just have to, also unwind and relax. This afternoon I will be going to my town close by, take the bus, take a walk through my village to the bus stop, which is like almost half an hour's walk really from here. And I will go to the Turkish shop, which is my go-to place. You guys, confession, I am not a vegetarian or a vegan or any of it. I was brought up with meat and I still eat meat. So if that freaks you out, then yeah, I understand it, certainly. But it's just the way that I live, and I find it helps me to eat meat sort of regularly. I try to do organic when I can afford it. And well, let's just not go there, okay? There's a Turkish butcher that I go to get some supplies for the rest of the weekend, vegetables as well. Hoping they will have nice aubergines for me to use, and so I can stock up. It is on onions, which I don't have enough at the moment, and some other such type interesting things. And I'll be out of the house for a bit, and it's beautiful weather. I just went out for a tiny walk and had my glasses cleaned and got packets of aspirin and that stuff, and I walked around the square for a bit. Gorgeous sunshine, just way too nice to be inside the house all the time. So that's what I will be doing this afternoon. And I'm a bit tired. My back is still a bit sore, but that's because I was in the kitchen again last night in the social restaurant that you know of by now. And it was rather different than what I'm used to. I will push this back just slightly, because then I can see you better. I can see myself better, so ergo you can see me better, probably. I hope. Yeah, we had a bit of a staffing problem, and people from the other team, the Wednesday group, were called in to help out because we had a huge crowd of clients, customers coming in. And what happened is that when you get that team over, they take over the whole kitchen. So I really didn't have much to contribute, and well, which is fine, really. I mean, it happens occasionally, and I just yeah, you just roll with it, right? You have to work with the team, right? So there you go, it's working with the team. So it's essential, and if I don't do it properly, if I don't pay attention, I will never learn. So there you go. Oh, great. Black. Ethiopian Arabica, because of course you want to know. Very quite hot, really. Just 1/2 spoonful of honey in it, otherwise black. And it is French coffee, and you can sort of tell you have to make it rather strong. And just one little idea that I have is that I can communicate with my coffee. I hope you enjoy this as much as I do, you guys, because Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah, I have two brands of coffee in the house at the moment. The ordinary Dutch type, which is sort of medium priced, regular type coffee that you use with a filter, okay? And I boil water on the gas stove, and I have to sort of let it come off the boil slightly. Preferably the water shouldn't boil totally, and so it should be like 95 degrees or something, and then let it cool down slightly. For the Dutch coffee, I can pour it on straight away, and it's okay that it foams a bit. And with this, it's French coffee. I got it on holiday. I got it in the supermarket in France, and it needs a slightly different treatment. I just have to, pour it on very gently, let it stand for a bit, and then stir and pour it in the filter. So it's two different ways. You have to communicate with whatever is around you, right? And since I never learned to communicate with people properly, and I'm still learning every day, I communicated with what there was. It's not espresso. It tastes like ordinary coffee, and you can make it quite strong. So that's where it becomes it's a good type coffee to use for espresso making. I was the restaurant business. I was going into that just because I'm a volunteer in the kitchen there, and a couple of us, tend to be the ones responsible for the recipes and overseeing a bit more. I'm one of those because I'm a cook, as I've said. So normally I tend to have a bit more responsibility, and I tend to sort of, determine more or less what kind of stuff we'll be cooking. Other people who work with me or with us are quite content to, do the cutting up vegetables and whatever there's needed, and the supporting, and we work together. Of course, you're a team all the time. This time, our supervisor was there as well, and I seem to have a hair in my face somehow because it's... Okay, out of the way. And she and I react rather badly to each other. So, of course, once all that simmered down again a bit, I managed to extricate her birth date from her. She hates me. I swear. Oh, poor girl. And I found, I could have almost predicted it, and you will be able to predict it by now. I found her black moon is on my moon. Really, I think there's a degree or maybe half a degree between them. So in Aries, right? Aries is already not the easiest of signs, not the most easygoing of signs. And there we have it. I have a moon in Aries, and I swear to you, I don't yell at people. I don't shout. I don't get all nasty. Even though yesterday I was a bit annoyed at a point where I felt like I wasn't really doing anything useful, and it was getting to me. So I had a moment again, one of those moments where you feel like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Who cares? Nobody cares, huh? It doesn't matter. Do I still want to be engaged? Because it's volunteer work. Do I still want to do this? And so I was getting a bit upset, and I was getting like, I don't know. But I managed every time so far, because I know it's the only activity that I have that I share with people in this village. I haven't lived here all my life. I lived here for the past 5 years. And before that, I lived in a village for 18 years, which is like 5 miles or so east from here. And in that period of 18 years, I spent 11 years on the road as a sales representative. And I didn't really get to meet people close by. So I didn't even know who my neighbors were, really. So considering all that, nowadays I'm a stay-at-home housewife, and I don't have children. I have nothing to link me to the place that I live other than the shops or maybe a couple of friends that I have. But that's very few and rather far between. So it's really clever if I manage to stick around at the social restaurant, even if there's moments where I go like, you guys, I'm out of here. That's not a good idea. I don't want to besides, I know how it feels if I explode into everybody's faces and I just run off. The moment I'm around the corner, I'm going to regret that, right? I'm just going to feel awful. I know that. So keep a lid on it, simmer down, let it be, and it'll pass. This too shall pass, okay? And that's what happened. And that's how we got back into talking a bit again, and the group of us and everything around us was just going, full steam ahead, because there were 24 guests and we had to, get everybody their meals and all that. So it was fine in the end. But I rediscovered again a black moon moment where I don't really have to, if I do this, if I remove my glasses, she's gonna go, what the fuck's going on? She's scared. I scare her. She's afraid of me. And it takes me an age to realize that, because I don't see what's in her brain. Okay, I can't see what's going on. I can't tell how she feels really. All I see is that she goes like completely shut down. She becomes completely inaccessible, and that triggers me again. Typical black moon story. Typical. And so if I take this pattern and I look at other people with whom I've had the same type of experience where I felt afraid because they shut down, because they became awfully, like authoritarian and very standoffish. I don't even know how to describe it. When people go like that, people become like they're in a position of power. They, muscle up like a tomcat fluffing up his fur because he's to defend his territory. Stuff like that. Something like that, except it doesn't look furry or any, of course, on a human being. It just looks awful. And there's no possibility for discussion. What they say is the truth. I want to describe this so you can, because I'm fairly convinced that a number of you people out there have come into the same situation where you are somebody just flies through the day and they determine everything, the very substance of truth, the substance of life becomes what they think, what it is, what they make it out to be. It's freaky. I mean, it has nothing to do with actual life. It's a reaction, and it's a reaction to a reaction. I wonder how often it is the case that because we just said something, we're, being our normal, silly selves or something or other, or maybe there's a point, maybe there's something that we want to get across and we want to communicate, and we're trying to be or do or say anything really. And we're just going about our business, and there's this person, and all of a sudden everything blows up in our faces out of nowhere. And it reminds me, because with my parents, of course, there was all sorts of stuff like this going on with Black Moon stuff that I described at some point earlier, a couple of weeks ago. And they overreacted to each other the whole time. So that was rather, I find it sidetracks me completely, because my parents, oh my God, they're both gone out of my life, but it is a pity because I still miss both of them, really. So that's another subject. It will always be a bit, this channel will always be rather a heavy type channel, maybe. But there was all this tension, and yesterday, and it took me like an hour and a half to come down from the tense reaction to her, and it would just be a horrible combination, really, where I think she, again, just like I described with a colleague of mine earlier, I think she's a lovely woman. I really like her. I mean, she's very energetic, she's very active, she takes up willingly a lot of the work that more than she really needs to, I think, personally. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I think it's great what she does. She tries to help us in every way possible and get the stuff done. And yeah, I think it's just such a pity when people react to each other in this way. And I've no way really to communicate any of this to her, other than maybe I can find a way to sort of energetically shield her from this moon that I have, which is my natural moon. But that's not her problem, right? The fact that I have this moon isn't her problem. And to some extent, maybe our horoscopes are really a structure of ego. To a large extent. Anyway, the ascendant, the sun and the moon could be they supply energy to the ego, which is there. So if I manage to maybe just tone down that energy inside me, the more I complete myself, the more I, get my life on the right track, the better I feel, the more middle ground I can handle as well, the better it will be for her. She will feel relief. She will not need to be triggered by me the whole time. So that's, I think that's an interesting approach. I've no idea how to go about this. I suppose there's ways to, you just have to really know your own field and your own vibration really well. So I can kind of see where it is that it is happening, that there is a particular type of intensity and of a fiery readiness that is typically Aries, right? Which is my moon. And to me, it's completely natural and fine and okay and healthy. And to her, because it's her black moon, it hurts. And I freak her out. I see that. And because I had, that type of a relationship with my parents where Venus was involved, and it was a mutual coupling really for my parents, because I share with them the water triangle. Already mentioned this, explained this probably extensively, I think. Cancer at the top, and to you this will be Scorpio, and this will be Pisces, right? And there was a lot of different planets in each, and they aspect each other strongly. So it was really quite a very positive aspect. And I think nowadays, now that we are all free of each other in the physical life, I can learn from this. I still learn from this every day. And I had to completely let my identity be, like sublimated, and it felt like being annihilated some of the time. So it wasn't easy, but I'm here, I'm alive, and we managed to, thanks to very great people out there in the world who have contributed their share, Teal Swan, Brian Weiss, and a number of others that I'm not going to mention here for now. I am here, I'm alive, and things are coming together really beautifully. And we need to work, right? I need to work on this. So I have found that working on the channel is quite a challenge, really. I need to take time. I need to take time set aside for my diary, for writing about things, which I had kind of forgotten the first 2 weeks, and it becomes a big mess in my head, in my brain. It just fogs up, and I have no clue what I'm doing. Counterproductive. I have to be careful which channels I watch on the tube, on the tarot tube. Love it still. It's just so great to see people connecting and watch the bits of chat and bits and bobs. Really beautiful. It's an extraordinary part of my life, but I find it really hard when there's problems between people and things going on. I react badly to that because I still carry trauma within me. So people fighting scares the bejeebus out of me. So with a bit of management that works fine. I will get back to the meditation series at some point when I feel like it. So just stay tuned, I think, because we will be going into the earth and into the heavens, I think. You can describe it that way. There will be at least 2 more I don't know how long they will be. I can't tell beforehand. I don't do any editing. I don't know how. I will just have to make it up as I go along, sort of, and work from what I can give you in the moment, right? And there's quite some interesting territory to cover still, even just within the meditation field, because from the fact that I've stressed in the past 2 videos that I have to, step back from from being emotional and being hypersensitive and dramatic and all that, and so therefore I try to go into a silence as often as I need, and then from there, from the 3 refuges type of place inside me, I get a rather different perception of my own energy field, and that is where I will be working from. That's what I will be showing you or telling you about in those videos. That will probably be next week. I hope that I can go back to that. I will also at some point do a probably at least 1 video on vanished twins, the vanished twin syndrome, because that's a big subject that doesn't get talked about enough, I think. It's coming along. There's much more. It's grown in the past year and a half or so. I have seen quite an increase in especially on Google, if you look it up. My husband has a vanished twin, and the moment we found that out, that was a really a big deal. So if that interests you, I will be posting on that soon, and I will probably be coming back to the theme regularly, because there's always more to say. And the other thing my husband has gone through is he's had a stomach operation in 2017, because he had what's called, I believe in English also, ectopic tissue. So it's a bit of tissue from the pancreas, which was nestled in his stomach lining, and that caused an ulcer, and that has bothered him for 56 years. And it caused a great deal of stress, and it was really hard for him to get a handle on his life. At the operation, it was a smallish, like a nodule, like less than a centimeter in diameter. But it irritated, and it kept, the stomach fluids were irritating it and all that. So it was really painful. It didn't hurt the whole time. It was just a constant level of stress. Poor boy. So they operated him, they took it away, they sewed him up again, and after a week or so of a bit of time and relaxation and rest and healing, he's been very much better, and he's a different person. So that's one thing I want to describe to you in detail as well. So now you know about those, and I have a lot planned out, but it's quite hard work, this, isn't it? Once I get into the flow of talking to the camera, it works fine. But I find it still rather surprising, especially afterwards, after I've done a number of videos on a particular theme. I want to get going, I want to get this and the other thing done, you know, and then after a while, it's out of gas. The battery's dead, you guys. I don't know why this happened. I really don't, really. But it's, I suppose it's like work, really. That's what everybody's telling me. So I hope this is of any use to you. And I will be seeing you ASAP with lots more content. And I hope from there on and from here on, we won't have to be so bloody serious the whole time, because I like to have a laugh, you know, now and then. So as do you, I know. So have a nice weekend, and yeah, I will be seeing you soon enough. Bye bye for now.